Good morning, people. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to the channel. It is showtime. It's showtime.
Welcome back to MUFC Realist TV and Beat the Press. Please stay tuned to find out these top stories with your host, Mick Ruby. Welcome to Beat the Press. Here we go.
Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go, people. Welcome back. Good morning to you, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday morning. If you're just waking up fresh, you're sitting, commuting to work, follow us, stretch your arms a little bit, get the blood flow going. And we have a jam-packed show today. We have a very, very special guest here. It is no other than Sal Warner from Stretford Post. How you doing, Sal? Welcome to the stream, my friends. Happy New Year. It's been a while.
Happy New Year. It hasn't been on since last year. So yeah, good to be back. Good to be back.
Then it's been madness, hasn't it? Like, the announcement of the 25% Ineos that's just been ratified. The other day we got hit by the unprecedented news came from nowhere that we are getting no other than Omar Berrada. I call him Barretta, like a gun, apparently.
Barretta. Yeah.
Barretta. Well, how do you pronounce it? Barretta or Barita or Barretta?
Barretta. I think he's Moroccan, isn't he, descent? I'm not sure. Yeah, so I think Barretta, Barretta. Something along those lines anyway, as long as he does the job, do it effectively. That's what matters. He call himself what he likes.
Yeah, so basically trying to do this on a weekly basis. Of course, everyone's been so busy, but, today's show is all about you fans. It's all about, are we on the, is Manchester United back on to the top? Basically, our rivals are getting scared. And now that we are actually seeing that we getting a structure in place, Sal, but I want to ask you the question, of course, barring that everything that's been gone past week, can you share your insights in the recent structural changes, what we are seeing within the club and the appointment of Omar Berrada as the new CEO? How do you envision this changing sort of impact in the club's direction? We've been trying to do a rebuild for the past 6 years, but how do you see this from your perspective?
I mean, it's a start. I'm not going to go overreact. Like some people are overreacting completely, like we're going to win the league next season. It's one guy. He's not going to change everything. And people seem to forget that Manchester City had a structure. They had the team there. They had the manager, the physios, the coaches. Everything was already there for them for them to succeed. It's a start. I'll start being more giddy when I start seeing some of those players, underperforming players, leaving rather than youth players and etc. Then I'll start believing, actually, this guy means business.
Interesting when you're saying it's a start, and the medical staff everything's been there. I can sort of agree to disagree. It's been there, but it's kind of a little bit outdated or not up to the best-in-class standard. The training facility, the physio department, the scientific department, and Manchester United has been kind of stuck in the quicksand, while other mid-table clubs like Brighton and everyone has been surpassing about having a proper structure. So what I wanted to say about this, Sal, is basically we had 5 managers trying to do the rebuild, right? But they've been not succeeding because the board above have not really been there, with the same vision. So, I mean, that's kind of my take on it. So I'm not going to get giddy until I see this taking shape, if I may say so. What I say, the proof will be in the pudding until it's eaten. And even Jarvis had Jarvis Corner yesterday. He was also saying, it's the step towards the right direction. But, as a United fan, I'm very, very dubious and suspicious, because we haven't seen this before, right? So, I mean,
exactly. This is the thing. It's one guy. It's one person. The roof's still leaking. We still have a very rundown stadium. There's lots going on. We're 900 million or billion in debt. Still, this doesn't change anything. I mean, it's kind of a masterstroke from the Glazers in one way, because they've got some fans on sides, getting some fans a little bit excited. I mean, I judge it on the pitch. At the end of the day, it's football, and whatever happens, happens. I'd rather the guys behind the scenes stay quiet. I'd rather not hear about them because I want to be successful on the pitch. Because back in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, we didn't hear about, oh, this guy or that guy who works upstairs. We just were winning, and that was the main thing. So when we start winning on the pitch, that's when I'll start saying, well, you guys are right. You're right not to get a full sale. Which we were all trying to get. Trying to promote.
No, but that's why Better Call Saul, Soul from the TV show, I'm gonna be Hector Salamanca there, keep my powder dry.
Okay, well, you need the bell, yeah.
You want changes. No, you're absolutely right when you say we fans, we should never been drawn into who is the CEO, who is this, who is that. We've been drawn into this takeover mess for the past 12 months, and this kind of drained ourselves, and creating the big divide, and even weirdly been creating this Ineos camp versus Sheikh Yassin camp and this and stuff. But at the end of the day, we are Reds, right? All we want to do is just to see the best performance on the pitch, right? Because we are consumers of the game, and start winning games again. So I don't know if you read the statement when they released that Omar Berrada was the CEO by the club. Did you read that statement?
I read bits of it. I read bits and pieces of it. I already know a bit about the guy. He's through his time from Barcelona and Manchester City. So I know he knows what he's doing. He's a winner. He's ruthless. What he can do at Manchester United is a different story. It's all up in the air at the moment because we have players on £350,000 contracts, and if he starts getting rid of some of those players, if we start seeing some serious business going on, then I'll start to believe and I'll start getting a bit more giddy about the things. But I think there's been a little bit of a divide in the fan base. They think it's you against me, Qatar against Jim Radcliffe, which is silly in my opinion, because at the end of the day, no one knows if this is going to be successful. No one has won really until we've won, so that's how I see it.
Nobody really knows anyway. But anyway, this is going to be we forgot about the index of the show today. Of course, it's Better Call Sal Warner from Stretford Post. Big to have you on the panel again, mate, and hope to see you, every week. As an addition, as we are growing as a channel, what we're asking for you guys, if you're watching this in retrospective, please hit that like button and share and subscribe if you haven't. And also, most important thing, hit that notification as well. You have a lot of buttons there, ding, 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 and bells and whistles. So anyway, so we're going to talk about what everyone else has been talking about, but I just want to hear your opinion, Sal, in terms of recruitment, the play of style, would Ten Hag still be around? And we're going to dive into the transfer market at the end of the show. So if you're interested in the transfers, will Manchester United sign anything? We're going to keep that to the end because it's 2 weeks left, and then we have some information as well. So stick around. Sal, let's go to the VAR room because our legendary VAR room is here. We have people coming in here to say Kenny Fan TV from all the way from Australia, having coffee in the night. Well, I don't know. Coffee doesn't really affect me in the night. I mean, do you drink coffee in the night?
I do, yeah. I used to go out buy Costa coffees and drink and it didn't used to affect me, because I used to drink their old Red Bull, didn't I? So
okay,
I stopped
guys,
drinking that now.
If you're drinking coffee, tea, whatever you're doing right now, cheers. This is my double espresso. Here we go.
There you go.
Moving further, we have Jeff Steele all the way from Adelaide, Australia, saying, "Hey Mick, hope all good with you, but also hey Sal, yeah, all good with us, man. It's all good. It's exciting times. Although the reports is coming out, it is a step towards the right direction. So it is because we've been crying out for a structural change. And if you do a proper rebuild, you got to start from the top and spread it all the way down to the bottom, pure excellence, like with KPIs, key performance indexes. So it's been understood that Jean-Claude Blanc will sit in the board. The Berrada will report into him, but Berrada will also have a say in who will be reporting into him as well. So we've been linked to Paul Michell. We've been linked to Dan Ashworth. Do you think that it will be any of those that we are linked to, or do you think that he will bring in his own people?
I think it most likely there's no smoke without fire when it comes to the media. Paul Mitchell, I'm a little bit like a bit skeptical about because of his recent history with falling out with owners and etc. But I think Paul Mitchell's been a name that we've been hearing for years. It seems, So I think it's written in the stars that Paul Mitchell will come along. Ashcroft, was it Ashford? Ashcroft from
Dan
Newcastle
Ashworth,
United.
Newcastle, yeah.
That one I'm a bit wary about. I'm not too
Me
sure
too.
about him. He hasn't really done anything of significance at Newcastle, to be honest, in my opinion.
Brighton, he did magic in Brighton, but Brighton is not Manchester United.
Yeah, exactly. It's different. That's the thing. People forget that Manchester United is a different fish altogether.
But it's been widely reported, Sal, that we are now going for best in class, and Omar Berrada is, according to my opinion, best in class, right? But if you're a CEO, your job is to set the vision, delegate the work, but also make sure you're part of the final interview, final say. And I believe that he will put in recommendation, who he likes to work with. At the end of the day, they will sit in a triangle meeting, with the technical director, the recruitment director, and the manager, and discuss everything, regarding transfers. Right? He's just not an operational manager. He understands football. He understands the transfer market. He's got his little black book of millions of contacts of agents, and he understands football and who is who on the market, and he doesn't want to overpay. And what's most important thing is that we are actually selling to a good, fair, decent price, something that the past establishment couldn't do. I mean, John Murtagh couldn't sell a packet of crisp on the flea market, even if he tried. So, I mean, do you see, since this came out of nowhere, like an uppercut, nobody had a whoosh about it. Like all of a sudden, Ornstein tweeted, bam, everyone was on it, right? Do you see such a surprise that they're keeping the cards close to the chest, and the ones that we've been linked to, Ashworth, Mitchell, that we might see something totally different names,
I like that about him so far. I mean, it's obviously come from Jim Ratcliffe.
Apparently, what they
usually we leak things to the media. Over the last 10 years, anyway, everything we do seems to be leaked to the media months before it even comes out. So it was refreshing to see. I've heard a lot of stories about this CEO. This guy, he says apparently that he gives players 2 years to improve, to impress, and well, he's got his work cut out at Old Trafford, because 2 years. There's a few players been there 10 years and been failing. So it'd be interesting to see if he lives up to his word, and even if it's the favourites in the team, if they're going to be held accountable the same as some of the youth players are being held accountable at the moment.
But it's all about holding people accountabilities and performance management and related, but I'm just going to back the tape regarding this statement when it was released. I mean, I read this statement and I was going like, this doesn't sound like a Manchester United Glazers statement, because it was all positive. It was all, we are nothing about a business. We are going to be a club going back to the glory days, winning trophies is all what it matters right now. And usually every statement, the release has Joel Glazer, signature on it. And there was nothing mentioned about Joel Glazer in this, the CEO, the owner, Joel Glazer. So this gave me an indication this is fishy, who's actually running the ship here, right? But you're absolutely right when it comes to optimizing, this is kind of my second question, because I believe that there is better players out there. There's the other staff out there that we don't know about, because we are fans. We only watch football, but who do we know, who is a director of football, and who do we know who is, a technical director, right? But my opinion regarding Ashworth, yes, he did okay. He did fantastic with Brighton, but at Newcastle, his hands are a little bit tied. And I can just judge him on the Tonali deal, right? The scandal of Tonali. If you are a sporting director or a technical director, you should have known this, But now he bought Tonali in scandals, betting allegations, suspended for 1 year, And what about that? I don't really. that's the first due diligence you should do, right? You should know
Yeah,
about
you
this.
research the person you're going to hire. It doesn't take long to research the people you're going to sign. So yeah, that is a bit
Reference
of a
check.
blotch on his mark. I mean, Tonali was a great signing. He's a fantastic player, but to not look into his history and to any allegations made against him doesn't bode well, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think we should look elsewhere. Myself, I would. I'm not too sure about him, but
I
I
mean,
just have to trust the process at the moment.
What big clubs have he managed, like, in terms of the size of Manchester United? Okay, he went to Brighton, came to Newcastle, totally different kettle of fish. I mean, perhaps he's best to stay somewhere in that range, but we need the top of the art. Like, we need, like, take somebody from, I don't know, Barcelona, Juventus, whatever, the big clubs, that knows how to run a proper footballing operation and recruitment, right? Not only are we going to recruit, like, homegrown talent, but we're also going to sell a lot of homegrown talent. But we're going to sort of have to look at, how do we scout and not overpay? Like, who will become the next Haaland or the next KDB and stuff like that, right? Similar to what they did at City, like, City Group. So fantastic. Although they've been, screwed over. I hope I'm not wishing death on anything, but if you cheated 150 allegations, of course you're going to be relegated, right? So,
well, we hope so. We hope that they do get it. I mean, what they've done to Everton, they put themselves into a corner. Really, they have to do something. I mean, I mean, was it 15 years ago when Juventus were relegated for match fixing down to Serie B, Fiorentina down to Serie C, I think it was. Yeah, they need to act harshly with them. And it's not just because it's Manchester City, and it's because if they let them off, what does that say about the Premier League? What does it say?
Yeah.
Because what they've done to Everton overspent. I mean, Everton, I feel sorry for in a way because they have no choice. They had no choice to overspend. So it's a bit hard on them. So if they're getting a 10-point deduction, what will Manchester City get for 115 charges? I mean, League Two? I mean, come on. It's got to be something like that. National League? I won't mind. Yeah. Let's see how many of those players stay, if they do.
Exactly. And I got 2 points to come back at you on that one. You mentioned something interesting with the Juventus, got relegated. Who was the one that took him back onto the glory days, back to the top again?
Who was the person who took Juventus back to the top again? Wasn't it?
Yes.
I know that Del Piero, Trezeguet, and Nedved stayed, and that helped a lot. They helped.
No, wasn't it Jean-Claude Blanc?
Yeah, Jean-Claude Blanc. But it would help in Serie B if you have Trezeguet, Del Piero, Nedved, Buffon playing for you. It's not that hard to get them back into the Serie A, is it?
No, but it's quite interesting because you have now Jean-Claude Blanc's been heavily reported now that he's going to sit in the board. He's got tons of experience in actually. I mean, he was the one. Even if they were relegated, he got lots of sponsorship deals actually to build a new stadium. He took them back to, he took them out of the hole and back into Serie A, like, in the top again. So, and now you have, Berrada, Omar Berrada as well. So this is two very, very experienced gentlemen, in order to my opinion. And I believe that they're going to sort of appoint the best in class underneath, like we're talking about technical director. I mean, get rid of who's our current technical director, Darren Fletcher, at the moment, with no pedigree CV whatsoever, and John Murtaugh once and for all. Just act like a club. So act like a club. Anyway. Is it my internet or is it self-frozen? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sal. I kind of lost you there. I think you're frozen, my friend. If you can come back in and out again, you're frozen to my screen. While you do that, I'm just going to go and shout out the people, and take your questions as well while Sal is coming back in. Good morning to you, Mark Davis, as well. Let us know your questions in the comment section as well. Yolim Almin, what you're saying here, I think the debt increases to 1.2 billion right now. 100%. Ivo Bosic, what you're saying here, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. Step 1, get Ineos footballing mafia in place. Step 2, get rid of the fraud coaches and get Alonso. I believe you mean Javi Alonso. I like Javi Alonso. And step number 3, football again, 100%. What else? Good morning to you, Angie, one of our lovely moderators. How are you this morning, Angie? Good to see you here. Morning, guys. Mick, Sal, Mods, and chat VR room. And while we're having some technical difficulties, Sal is trying to get back in here. I'm reading to you guys here as well. Mrs. and Mrs. Tolohan, what you saying? Good morning, guys. Look in from, are you from Trinidad and Tobago? How are you going? Blessings to you and everyone in the VR room. And who else do we have here? Not going to try to read out. Anyway, number 1, MILF Hunter, that's a good one. You've been a member for 5 months, but I can see here. Congratulations to you as well. Yalim Amin is saying Ashford has his hands tied and wrapped over Newcastle. So I don't believe he will come. But anyway, Almac is here. We deserve better. Robotic, what you're saying. He was robotic, but he's back. Yeah, Sal sounded like a robot. But Sal, are you back there?
I am. I'm back,
Yeah.
I think. I'm back,
You did
I
a little
think.
bit
So
of-
I was just getting in my stride there. Yeah, just, yeah, it's a bit crazy one. Yes, the
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi network, because
Abu Dhabi
they're
network.
Manchester City over here, so they're trying to sabotage my connection, So.
Yeah.
But
But
I was talking about Napoli. No one ever speaks of Napoli. I mean, players like Osimhen and the Georgian player that they have, Kvaratskhelia, they have on the wings. They came from nowhere, And there's a guy called Maurizio Michele, who is their chief scout, who's picking up these gems from around the world, and their structure seems to work, And I think we should look at teams like that. They won the Serie A last season, and with players from the youth team and players that we haven't heard of. I mean, Osimhen obviously is one of them that they signed, which is done really well.
Yes.
So just a suggestion.
It's very interesting point that you mentioned there, because Jarvis said the same thing what you said in last night's stream in Jarvis's corner, which lasted about 2 hours. It went extra time like hell. But he said the same thing, like, if he had an option, he wouldn't go for those clear and obvious names like, like Paul Michell. He said exactly what I would look at people from Girona, how they're doing, Napoli, the next up and coming, like, they have the black books, they recruit well, they scout well, from not only from European leagues, but, South Africa, all around the world, India, Japan.
You've heard of this player, Dobvik? He's scoring like goals every week, So
Never heard of
where did they find him? So I think we're just choosing names to trigger the fan base. These popular, names that appear, and oh my goodness, it's him. If we start getting people in the club that no one's heard of, thinking, oh, who's this guy? Just another banker.
But do you think that that's about to change with the changes? Like, we used to just sign the shirt seller. Like, it was actually reported by Chris Wheeler a couple of days ago. He had an interview and he said, but Mason Mount was not actually Ten Hag signing. It was a club signing, shirt seller signing. He's available. Let's grab him. Like, you know what I mean? So that proves you how stupid they've been, like just splashing up money, like one year left on his contract, injury prone, and we splash silly money on it, right?
I don't trust anything they say, anything the Glazers say or the club do. I don't trust them, because they're speaking out. Oh, Liverpool wanted Mount, and all these other teams wanted. Arsenal wanted Mount. If they wanted Mount, they'll have Mount. Yeah. I didn't, but obviously he's at our club now. He hasn't played hardly any games. We could have got him for free in the summer. Just basically wasted 50 million on. Yeah,
true. Ivo Boss is coming in with a very interesting question. Benfica scouting does well. Yes, they do, 100%. Benfica, for me, it sets a benchmark in how you recruit cheap and how you sell with a mega profit. They're not mugs. You know what I mean?
They're a selling club, though. This is the only
They're a
thing.
selling club. It's a
Yeah,
different
they're a
thing.
selling club. Yeah, they have no choice but to play the youth team and to play the players. They got good scouting network in Brazil and places like South America. But in Portugal, they get first option on players from Brazil, and they pick up some gems from there. Because if you look into Brazilian football, there are some decent players over there. Argentina as well. There's some decent players over there. If you do your scouting, you'll be able to pick up a couple of gems, couple of £1 million, and I think that's what we should do. But it seems like it's not happening
Yeah.
anytime
No,
soon.
no,
Yeah.
I'm big on the grassroots leagues, and Girona has 2 Ukrainian guys. They're so good. There's so many gems and talents that I believe we have a scouting network, and whatever they've been recommended, they've just been overturned. And you're not going to get that. We're just going to get what we want. We know football. We want to have the glory. We're talking about Glazers saying, that's not a shirt seller. But I believe with this new potential establishment, what we are reading into, we're not going to go and buy for those expensive players, maximum 70 million, maximum. But this is what excites me, because I want us to go and sign those gems that will become the upcoming world beaters, that are well scouted, but not just ballers with great mentality, winning mentality, right? That we're never down to. And this is what I want. I don't know. How about you?
I agree. I mean, players who want to fight for the badge. I mean, look at Martinez, for example. Players like that, of that ilk, who want to fight for the badge. I know what Tevez done wasn't great, but he was a fighter. There's a lot of players in our team. They're a bit fair-weathered. They're a bit soft. And when the going gets tough, they seem to give up. We need more fighters in there, like a Roy Keane. Even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a fighter, And these players were plucked out of obscurity. For example, Solskjaer, he wasn't a shirt seller, was he? So we need to start finding these players with the right mentality, not just talent, it's the mentality. Players who love the club, who know about the club, the history of the club, and don't want to just play for the paycheck, So
that's
my
it.
opinion.
And that leads into my next question, because for me, it is clear and obvious what the strategy is. And it's basically to trim, to make it a mean, lean machine. And that's what I understood. To save money, to raise money, you got to sell a lot of players. And that's why I expect us to do to the summer. Nobody's safe as part of what I understood. But if you're selling homegrown talent, that is a pure profit into your FFP. That doesn't really affect FFP. There's pure revenue, no deductions. And also, if you have aged players as well, there's no deductions. Who do you see? I mean, if from I know the answer, but I want to hear from you. Who do you think the club would get rid of in the summer? I mean, nobody is currently safe, because Berrada came out to say, if you haven't been performing for 1 or 2 years, you're out of the door, right? So I want to hear from you. Who do you believe will get going in the summer? Will it be a Maguire?
Sadly, I think they'll get rid of Casemiro. I think he'll go to Saudi Arabia. I think Varane will leave, sadly. I mean, these are good players. It's difference between who I think will leave, who I want to leave. If I told you who I want to leave, it's easier to tell you who I want to keep, because it's on one hand at the moment. So I think they'll get rid of Varane and Casemiro 100%. Maguire needs to leave for his own sake as well. He needs to go. McTominay needs to go. I sound like a broken record with McTominay, but I mean, he's a passion merchant. I don't think he's particularly good at anything. I mean, maybe if you want to keep him for the bench option to bring on to scramble a goal in the last minute, maybe. I mean, but would Real Madrid do that? Would Liverpool do that? Would Arsenal do that? They wouldn't keep these players. We need to get rid of these players and be ruthless. These players have been there for 10 years. Even Luke Shaw. I love Luke Shaw.
Luke Shaw, yeah.
Yeah, he's always injured. He's never available. Yeah. Martial is gone, obviously, as well. So, yeah, there's a few that need to be out the door. And I think the players that have flattered to deceive for the last 10 years need to go first, because they've survived 4 managers now. And I think they need to
How about Rashford? Do you reckon they will get rid of Rashford?
If I speak, I'm in trouble. Hate to quote Jose Mourinho. I mean, I think he needs to go, yeah. I think he should
Yeah.
go. Whether
The
someone's going to
reason
pay
I'm
his
saying
wage.
that, because if you look at the wage bill currently, who's the top earners? You mentioned the three top is Varane, Rashford, Casemiro, right? On the high wage
Sancho
bill.
as well, yeah.
Sancho as well. Sancho will 100%. We spoke about this yesterday, me and Mark, including Anthony Dos Santos. They're looking also potentially to offload in the summer. He hasn't really performed and on high wages. So I do expect ruthlessness, because as a league club, you got to be ruthless. If you go back to what Sir Alex used to do as well, everyone was surprised. Well, why did you sell this player? Well, it's time to move. It's time to build new, right? Thank you for your loyal service. Right?
It's not about friendships. It's not about friends.
No.
This is nothing personal. This is about winning football matches.
True.
We had winners that were kicked out the door. Steve Bruce, Mark Hughes, Andre Kanchelskis, David Beckham, Stam. These are winners, treble winners. And they were kicked out the door, So we need to be more ruthless. Rashford under Sir Alex, Sancho under Sir Alex would not have lasted this long, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They would have been sold. I mean, Sancho wouldn't even got to the period of him back chatting on Twitter, etc. I know that things have changed with social media, but if Sir Alex was in charge, he wouldn't even got that far. He wouldn't even been signed, because we would have researched his attitude and his past history, so to speak. A lot of mess at the moment that needs clearing up. We definitely need to start now, I think.
Yeah. Guys, let us know in the comments section below in the video room. Post your Q&As. Which players do you think will go in this summer? Who do you think personally you want, or realistically club will react? What currently what we're hearing right now. We're gonna take a little bit of a small break, and we're gonna come back with asking Better Call Saul, are there any specific earmarked players for potential sales? That's we discuss now, but also potential buy, in how we're going to sort of move forward. Until then, guys, take a little break, and here's a very educational video in what you're going to do right here, right now.
So it's come to our attention that about 90% of you on YouTube have not yet learned how to smash the like button. What? So today, we're going to learn.
No! God,
are you ready?
Please, no! No!
All right.
No!
And that is how you smash the like button. Hit the like button. What did I say?
Hit the like button.
Exactly. Don't forget it.
Nice.
So, guys, that was a little bit short commercial break, but you understand the picture. Guys, hit the like button right now. If you're watching live right here, right now, smash that like button. It's so important for YouTube algorithm. If you're watching this as a match stream of the day later on, also hit the like button, because I know how it is. Sometimes I watch streams and I forget to like. So therefore, you have a little bit of a editorial, how to smash the like for dummies, made by me anyway. Big up anyway. Sal, moving forward as well, appreciate you coming here talking football, because it's a little bit unusual morning show, nothing but news and special, just talking as fans. If we assess the squad now, where are the most critical area, and according to your opinion, needs strengthened, and why?
Defense definitely needs strengthening, especially if Varane leaves. I'm not a fan of Lindelof. I think he needs to go. He's a bit passive for my liking, a bit weak. Evans, of course, is going to be gone. He's on the other side of 35. So I think defense first. We have to build from the back. Onana. Goodness me. I know it's one of them ones where we could build around him from the back. But I've seen too much. He doesn't go, and he's not for me. He's not for me, because at the end of the day, when you're signing a keeper, it's going to take time. I mean, so it took Sir Alex Ferguson a long time to replace Peter Schmeichel, as we all know. We even signed the World Cup winner in Barthez, and it didn't work. I mean, we need to do our research. For me, I would sign a new goalkeeper. Yeah.
But what about Beyonder? You haven't seen much about him.
Yeah, I like a more dominating goalkeeper. A tall goalkeeper is good with his feet, a bit like Courtois. I like someone like that. Suits us better, a bit like Van der Sar, Schmeichel. I mean, this whole playing from the back thing is is overrated in my opinion, and I don't think it
Yeah.
suits us. I mean, I build from the back and I'll go to the midfield, and then we go
Yeah.
from there because at the moment there's so much that needs doing. We need a striker as well, of course. If Anthony goes, we need a right winger. You know, so yeah, it's just too much to do. It's going to take us years, I think.
It's interesting because he was recruited maybe 1 year too early, Onana, right? Because
Yeah.
we are meant to play from the back, and he's meant to start that, like, you know, the instigation and in the transition play. But if you look at the number of personnel or defenders that been in front of him, there's been like, I think it's been 10 different formations. So it hasn't been easy, right? So we're not really playing out from the back, and I think confidence is kind of getting to him as well. But you're right, like, you know, I find it quite funny because I never wanted De Gea out, right?
Me too.
This playing out from the back, it's like saying, oh, we need a centre back with license to pick up the ball. But what is actually the role of a goalkeeper is actually to stop the bloody ball to go into the net, isn't it? Right? So this whole new thing is to have kind of like a centre back playing, you know, good on the feet goalkeeper. I don't know, man. At the end of
He
the
just
day,
stays on his line for me. I mean, even when it's one-on-ones, he just stays on his line. You need a dominating
I'm not
goalkeeper.
going to slate him as of yet. It's too early for a season, but he hasn't had it easy that I can say. But I find it funny that people that were calling to, you know, De Gea's head, you know, saying De Gea out are now De Gea in. You know what I mean? Why did we get rid of
De Gea maybe needed to go as well. Maybe. You know, maybe we needed to move on from that chapter, but Onana wasn't the answer, you know, and we found that out now. I mean, I was one of them people who thought Onana was decent, but I watched him in the Europa League final against Man United in 2017, and he was the same. I mean, he sticks on his line, his feet work is awful. He's too small, he's got too much upper body weight. He's not
like
agile
bodybuilding
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's 28, isn't he? So how's he going to improve? I mean, you need to. This is Man United. You need to man up.
You know what? He's not on high wages, so even this is on the manager. Manager wanted him like in 100%. They wanted to bring him in, and I connected dots that it's relating to what we are trying to do now: trim the wage bill. And De Gea was on big money, and therefore they didn't want to extend his contract. They were trying to get him on the lesser wages, and apparently he didn't want to accept, or basically what they are saying that he signed the contract, but the club never said, nah, you know, off you go. So they treated a legend like that disrespectful. So he's currently not playing at the moment, and he's looking to come back potentially on a loan somewhere, or I don't know. Would you take him back?
At United, I believe never go back. That's the way I am. Never go back, because it just doesn't work. Ronaldo didn't work. Unless it's Paul Scholes, you can go back.
Yeah,
I'll take Paul Scholes right now.
X is X. You know, you can't fix a broken mirror. What you say? X is X for a reason. That's it. Move on.
That's it.
Brilliant. Guys, I have mixed feelings regarding Onana. I'm willing to give him a little bit more time to the end of the season, but I would love us to see what was the reason for signing this Turkish goalkeeper. You know, but if Cameroon goes out in the AFCON, he's going to be rushed back into it. He's going to play in the FA Cup, and I don't want him to play in the FA Cup. Chill. Let the reserve goalkeeper play. Let us see what he's all about. Perhaps he doesn't want to because he knows that the Beyonder is a much better. It's what you're describing, this tall stature goalkeeper, good on his feet, shot stopper. I don't know. I want to see. And then only then I can compare, to be honest, right?
Yeah, well, he's a Turkish international. He plays international football at the top level. You know, they can't say he's a poor keeper. The Turkish league is quite strong, as we found out. You know, so you can't just say he's a rubbish keeper until we've seen him. You know, he's an international level keeper. So I like to see him play. But can you imagine Onana coming back against Newport County? Yeah, it's got a bad vibe, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but just do a Chelsea. Chelsea was also ruthless. They brought in, like, you know, they brought in Kepa, Kit Kat fingers, and then they brought in, what's his name? Mendy, and now they have a different keeper. You know.
Yeah, you have to. And Manchester City as well. They brought in Bravo, then they brought in Edison as well.
Until
so
you get it right.
have to. You know, look at Sir Alex Ferguson with Schmeichel, and Van der Sar and Howard and Barthez, you know, and Valdez and all these keepers until we got the main man, Van der Sar.
I can see in the comments a long schlong saying Boyander is rubbish. He's worse than Onana. Need goalkeeper next year. Well, I don't know if you have seen him play a long schlong. I don't know. I have never seen him. I don't know anything. I can see the comments coming here. You know, it is like, you know, we want to see what it's all about. So play him in the FA Cup, 100%. You know, lesser team. You know, we don't need.
He needs to rest. He needs to take a time out, take a break, take a chill pill, have a coffee, whatever you want, just relax. Because at the moment, he's cost us European football. This season. He did. And we were going well. And every time we were going well, he'll make a crucial mistake. We should have been still in Europe, whether it's Europa League, Champions League, we should have beaten Galatasaray any other day.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but if De Gea was in goal, we probably would still be in Europe right now.
Yeah. Fantastic. And final question regarding structure here. You know, I'm not saying Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out, because I'm kind of guy that see things from a 360 holistic perspective. I assess everything, and I can understand the structural shit that's been going around. Like, you know, if I'm Dale Brailsford, if I come in and assess, you know, I do a performance management on the whole structure of the club, I would go like, what the hell? Who pulled the hand grenade here? Because it's a total mess, and you're supposed to manage this. So do you think that they're going to sack him, or do you think they're going to back him to make him cook if they give him the right tools?
I don't trust him in regards to transfers now, because I think he's
taking away the
signing too many players that he knows, which doesn't work. To be honest with you, Pep doesn't do that kind of thing. You know, you have to sign players based on their ability, not that he's my mate. You know, for example, there's a few things, a few alarm bells that have been ringing since I last been on here. There's been a few alarm bells. The McTominay obsession, I'm not fond of. I think he's going down the same path as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Jose Mourinho went down, and that's the problem at the moment. Would I give him a chance? I'll give him to the end of the season, and I would like to see him survive. I like Ten Hag. I think he's a good manager, but he needs to go back to basics. What he did last season,
back to basics, 100%.
Back to basics. Yep. And once he gets that spine back, Casemiro, Martinez back.
I got to say one thing that people don't talk about, right? The thing is, why did he take charge of the transfers? Because you had Mercer that has no clue what he's doing. So he's basically said, okay, let me deal with it, right? And then the Scott McTominay obsession, this is something that's been going for years. And I believe that somebody's whispering in the manager's ear, you have to pick Scott McTominay. You have to pick Scott McTominay. Every manager, Jose played him, Ole played him, and everyone was like...
He's Sir Alex's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets a lot of praise from Sir Alex. There's actually a video out with Alex Ferguson telling Mourinho to play Scott McTominay. When Scott McTominay was by his side, he was like,
I think
play him.
It's just the club pet, club mascot. Like, you know, it's mandatory. You have to pick Scott, right? And that has to disappear. Like, if you're doing a rebuild, because every manager that played him fell. Like, you know, they used him as... Of course, he's a great ambassador, does the good talk, but I just don't see what his position is. Like, you know... Anyway,
we're all good ambassadors. We all support Man United. We all can talk a good game, but we can't play on the pitch, can we? So,
but we can see what's wrong.
McTominay's a glorified lower Premier League player for me, and Championship player. Even that, I've seen more better players in the Championship. To be honest with you, it's a good lad, but if we want to be serious, that's when I know things are going to get serious. When I see McTominay being sold, for example. You know, and other players as well, not just him. He's not the only one, you know. So once he goes out the door, then maybe, you know, I'll start thinking, we're serious here.
I mean, the reason why we're asking this question from a global fan base perspective is just to aim to cover various aspects, like, you know, on the club's recent developments, recruitment strategies, how we're going to move forward. Are we going to go back to the winning ways again? I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know, everything about football is all about recruiting right, you know, selling right, and have a winning path. Like, you know, once we see that, then I will sort of get my powder wet. That's what I'm trying to say as well. Like, I'm absolutely think that we are on the right path, right? Depends on what comes next after Omar here, the CEO. Depends on what we're going to see, who we're going to sell, and who we're going to bring in. It's going to be key as well, because I don't think that they will have time for 5 years to wait to get another trophy. I think they want to win something within 18 months, what I believe.
Yeah, I mean, and I hope, fingers crossed, that some of the scouts are at the African Nations and the Asia Cup as well. I hope they're checking out some players there. I mean, there's players all around the world that we could scout for who love to play for Manchester United.
Yeah, speaking about that, we are going to transition over to the most interesting part, and that is the transfer market. Did I say transfer market? Is there a transfer market in January? Mark, welcome to the stage. Mark Nurse, how you doing, my friend?
Big up to you, Mick. Big up.
What's
Good
going on,
seeing
Mark?
you, Sal. Haven't
Good to
seen
see
you
you
in a
again.
while. You know,
Happy New
hope
Year.
everyone in the VR room is having a good time. I'm making some jokes with the long strong and the guys in the chat.
The long
you know how it goes.
Madhouse is here. There was one player yesterday that you mentioned. I was half asleep. You were watching. You doing a lot of the AFCON watch-alongs. You were watching. Who did you watch yesterday? There was.
Oh, I was watching Equatorial Guinea play yesterday, and there's a goalkeeper from Equatorial Guinea, 23 years old. His name is Warner. The guy, his name is Jesus Warner. He's very, very good. I think he's underrated. He plays in Spanish for Alves. I don't think they know what they have on their hands. He's worth 6 million euros at this point. I think we should be going for this guy.
It's going up double that now.
I'm doubling down on this guy right now. Trust me.
Mark, who was that Rivaldo copy that you mentioned?
The young striker Lau King. He plays for Mozambique.
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 Lau King. Never heard of him. But you said something that he is a carbon copy of Rivaldo.
Yeah, he looks like him. If you see out the way he plays the ball and everything, he even looks like he's left-footed as well. So for me, it was one of those things interesting to see. It was like a stark resemblance. You know what I mean? And Mozambique is another team that anyone is expecting to play really good football, and they were playing high line, expansive, attacking from the back. They kept most of the possession, and they were playing against Ghana. And Ghana, to me, they got lucky in that game. Lucky to have 2 goals, 2 penalties. You know what I mean? Mozambique came back in the end of the game to get a penalty and score a goal to tie the game 2-0. Ghana fluffed their lines.
Okay. Mark, we kind of understood that the whole, I don't know, people call it the Ineos train or the performance. What they want to do is basically go all in the summer. Like, the CEO is going to start in the summer. He's already basically started. He resigned. He's on a garden leave. He's working from his home office. Everyone knows it, right? You're not going to show yourself in Mayfair office. But everything seems to be all in gun-ho for the summer, massive overhaul. And we're not going to recruit anything. But January window, we need a striker, right? We need a striker. People were saying about Choupo-Moting. The press is going mad about Choupo-Moting today, but we discovered something 2 weeks ago, which we said here on this stream, that if you want Choupo-Moting, you have to pay for Choupo-Moting. You have to give him a contract, not just 100%. A loan. And why is that so?
Because of the German law. If your contract is expiring in the same period of the loan, you can't be loaned to an international club. And it's one of those things where
contractless, yes. So that goes out the door. That means that we're going to buy a 36-year-old striker. No way, Jose. Transfer rumors. What else is going on there in the striker market? Brian Brobby, another link with Ajax striker, because Eric Ten Hag, Eric Ten Hag. I don't think he's got legs. You?
No, because I saw an article 2 days ago where Brian Brobby was speaking to the press saying, he's spoken to Ten Hag, they've talked, they've remained close, but ever since the interest last season, there's been no talk of him leaving, because he's made it clear that he wants to develop himself at Ajax for the next year or two. So I don't see it having legs. Now, at the end of the day, things can change, but the reports seem to me that they're just linking Eric Ten Hag to a lot of players that, he's worked with before. I mean, you see the links to Bayern Munich's Matthias de Ligt. Now, it's not a bad link, in my opinion, but we all know he hasn't been performing well. I wonder if he was at the top of his game, if they would link him to Man United. You know, everything seems to point to the negatives of Eric Ten Hag and never to the positives.
Yeah.
Because
But speaking about positives, big up to Javi Alonso. You know, he's cooking at the moment, right? And I was thinking, well, hang on, didn't Harry Kane leave Spurs to have a guaranteed trophies? But there are how many points are clear of Bayern Munich?
right now, I think
Yeah,
they're 5
Bayern Leverkusen.
points clear
With a game in hand, yeah.
with the game in
well.
hand as well.
That manager,
Leverkusen.
I really love him. I really love him. He plays a 3-4-3 system, right? Expensive wing backs, high press. I love him, right? I love him, and they are so bloody good. But Kane, I read a BBC article, like, you know, Manchester United has not ruled out to bring Kane back in to win a Premier League title. And it's like, yeah, that ship has sailed. You know, build a bridge.
That's gone.
But I don't know. Do you see anyone else? I have a little bit of a transfer secret.
Well, you know, like there's two major links that I would pay attention to based on price and based on necessity of the task. You know, I would
Okay.
say,
You know
my
what Mick's going to say here.
the first choice. I would say one, and I know you're going to say the other, so I'd leave that
Well,
one.
let me keep that one to myself, okay?
Right,
That's my
and I'll
little
say
secret.
this about Karmim Bensima. A lot of people might have their issues about Karmim Bensima, but if you really look at what's happening with Manchester United right now, behind the scenes with the structure coming in, there's no better choice than Karmim Bensima to come in for a short-term period, 6 months, when you're trying to assess players and make outings, a large transition in the summer. You want to see 5, 6, 7 players leave this club, then you don't want to be signing really a young player or a young striker. You want to get someone who's not going to be here. You know he's not going to be here for long. And what makes it kind of interesting is that we're about to
That's gonna
lose
be
Anthony Martial in June.
But that's going to be seen as a Glazer shirt signing at the end of the day. But speaking about that, Sal, as well, we did the same thing with Ronaldo, because we paid his high wages, but that we recuperate based on the commercial value of shirt sales and sponsorships and everything else. Would you like to see like a Karmim Bensima coming in for 6 months, or does that make sense to you, or are we over?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I would because of his influence. He's a winner, and with Højlund, him next to Højlund, he can teach Højlund a lot in those 6 months about football winning and positioning, etc. But I'm a guy who likes to look around the world and look at players from different countries. Argentina, for example, Claudio Extraverri for River Plate. Players like on those kind of signings that we need 20 million, you're going to get him, and that's it. There's even Muslim Monatov from Algiers in North Africa. He's striker. There's many players around the world that we could get for peanuts, who would fight for the badge, but Benzima to keep us to the summer, yeah. Benzima to keep us to the summer, I would definitely.
Yeah.
But he's on, how much is he on a week? 1 million a week or something like that.
400K a week or something.
Is it? Or 1 million a month or something.
Yeah, but apparently he's falling out. They are trying to find a resolution. He fell up with 2 managers. The whole establishment there. He's refusing to go to Dubai for training. He's training alone, stuff like that. So his agent's kind of looking for a way out for him to sort of come to play his last. They're apparently looking to sort of sell him to another Saudi club, but he looks like he's not happy. So I don't know. They want to also recuperate their money. They're not mugs either. So me personally, yes, if it's for 6 months, 1 year max, final contract, while we are in transition, but not to stop Højlund's development. But if we are kind of building for the future, and I guys, I've been reporting on this since the beginning of December, right? And even following this, I would just put this on the stage, because this is a transfer secret that nobody's kind of talking about, but Manchester United is very much looking into. Then ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to add this to the stage. Benjamin Sesko, guys. Benjamin Sesko is now reported also that Newcastle also entered the race. Chelsea's looking at him, and Manchester United have been heavily scouted him. Currently, went for Salzburg to RB Leipzig. He's not getting game time because they play the preferred senior striker there. But when he had made appearance, he actually come in from the bench and scored, I think, 7 goals so far, Mark.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
this is a player that you can get. Been speaking. They are willing to let him on for a loan in January to get development, with a release clause of 42 million pounds, which is about 50 million euros in the summer. Obligation to buy, and this is one for the future. This guy is the next up and coming best striker in the world, according to my opinion. I've been following for such a long time. What do you reckon about this, Sal?
There was speak of Sesko during the summer.
Yes.
We were talking about him during the summer, and people were talking about his lack of goals or whatever. But he's a very good player. Would be high on my radar in the sort of category we should be looking at, the age category, etc. So he's scoring a lot of goals. But there's plenty of players out there, I stress. Plenty of players out there. There's many Seskos out there that we could get, and we don't need to overpay. I just feel like we need to get our wheels in action with the scouting,
Yeah, I mean, we are heavily scouting. I spoke to Graham Bailey about this one as well. We are heavily scouting. His agent, Elvis Bosanovic, was actually spotted over Christmas as well, speaking to, United's came. He was basically in London as well and spoke to Chelsea as well. So they are looking. And barring that we are keeping guessing right now, we don't really know what we are doing. So I can see that because his salary is small. It's very small and it's affordable, right? We can take him on. And then we can have similar like what we did to Amrabat. Pay a small little loan fee, salary small, and then we have an option to buy or trigger that release clause in the summer, right? Take it or leave it, right? So why not? Why the hell not? But you say more of experience in Benzema because that's what we used to do.
Well, I think the more experienced part is basically might be because we have a young attacking lineup, and the leader in our attacking lineup has not been leading, so we don't really have a player that the attacking line can look to as a bar, as a standard of what they need to be delivering every game. So it's why I'm saying maybe 6 months Benzema. It might be, I'm seriously doubting we're going to pay him anything close to $1 million a week. Saudi owns his image rights, so I think that's going to take up at least 50-60% off of the wages bill every week. It's just one of those things.
But I just want to be balanced here. I hear what both of you are saying. Depends on what is that you want to achieve this season. Do you want to go all in to make sure that you end up in top 4? Then definitely you go for a Benzema, right? If you are serious about building for the future long-term project, then you go for a Sesko, right?
Maybe just that will we be able to play him? At the moment, we're going to jeopardize Højlund's playing time if we get a player.
No, they could be rotational. They are similar attributes. If I compare,
and we have no one to cross the ball either at the moment.
No,
to score the goals.
True. We're talking about Rashford as an inverted striker.
Yeah, I would get someone who can cross the ball, definitely first, and then we can go from there. And
then we need a keeper that can cross his legs.
Yeah, we need a keeper who can get on the floor and save a ball,
Yeah, true. Guys, VR room, what you're saying, I know if you had an option, would you go for the long-term option, like getting Sesko in, presser 1, or would you just go for a short-term just to get back into top 4 to get Benzema in? I know a lot of people will say Benzema. I assume so, but it would be interesting to see what the VR room is saying. So please smash a 1 for Sesko, 2 for a Benzema right here, right now. And while you're at it, get those likes button up. 1. What was 1 for?
Goalkeeper.
3, none of them. Goalkeeper. 3.
Yali Malmin is saying he'll take none of them.
None of them.
I think Yali Malmin was also saying earlier that Sesko is a reserve striker and a team. But I would explain to Yali that Sesko was bought to be the premier striker at Leipzig. What happens is they had another youngster promoted into the team from the season before named Openda, who's just the same age, 22 years old, but he has blistering pace and he's very, very clinical, a finisher. And what happens is Sesko was injured for the first 5 games of the season with a hamstring, and Openda started and he scored in each and every game. So it's one of those things where he deserved to be starting. He kept scoring goals. He has 17 goals in 20 appearances or something like that, and 6 assists. So it's hard to say that Sesko is not good enough if he only played 312 minutes over the
Yeah,
course of season and scored
312
8
minutes.
goals.
You can look at that stat as well. Like, seven goals in 24 appearances. But what is 24 appearances? Coming off the bench like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did or whatever. Minutes here, minutes there. It's about goal conversion at the end of the day. So I don't see basically you don't want to burn out like, Rasmus Højlund for playing 95 minutes every single week. You can rotate those strikers like in, out, because it is pretty much a like-for-like replacement. They are both explosive, technical, good on the ball, can smash that ball in, can link up play. He's about 195 tall, if I remember correctly, Slovenian guy. So, man, I take him. But on the other hand, I want us to get back into top 4 again. So, yeah, I wouldn't say no to Benzema, but what kind of message does that send out to, we are in a rebuild, this is what we want to do, and by the way, we're bringing in Benzema, right? That doesn't really sound what Ineos wants to do, according to what I understood.
I think we can get better than Sesko, though, around the world.
Yeah, we could. But this is kind of what we are linked to. This is what media is starting to pick up. And this is what I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, don't sleep on Sesko. We'll see. At the end of the day, it's down to the club what they will do.
So we'll probably get Olivier Giroud.
Oh, yeah. But he's got contract to the summer as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. I did a poll the other day, and the winning poll was, what did I have? I had Benzema, I had Sesko, I had Choupo-Moting, and I had another interesting player called Jack Shit. Guess who won?
Jack Shit.
Yeah, Jack Shit won, yeah. 43% on the
Jack
poll.
Shit. Nobody.
Yeah. But
You heard of
player.
him. He's a good player.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really entirely going to be too bad if we don't really get anyone, in my opinion, because I feel like what's more important right now is to focus on building the structure that's going to take us forward. You know what I mean? And if it means no signings in January, hey, I'm all for that, because I think we have seen a lot of youngsters coming through the club in the midfield area. I would give some of them a chance, even if it's just 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. I think we could find a gem like we found Kobe. We gave him a chance and he's earned his spot every which way. It's also like a Garnacho, I mean, at the end of the day, as Mick is saying, if we want to build for the future or you want to get in top 4, maybe we could still get in top 4 while building for the future. I mean, at the end of the day, we haven't been performing well, but we've still, for the most part, kept within 10 points of top 4 and in a position where we could, if we do well, we could get there in the end.
But that kind of puts the pressure on the manager. Show us what you got right now. If you don't, show us what you're made of. I read a report yesterday that we are apparently selling Will Fish as well, or have we sold, or is it a loan?
Sold. I think that's not a bad deal, to be fair. I don't think that's a bad deal. I think the reason why he's being sold is because Reece Bennett has been coming through, and they're going to give Reece Bennett a chance as opposed to. So I think it's one of those
injured,
things.
didn't he?
Yeah, he also got injured.
Yeah, another one that I'm very excited about that I want to get promoted to the first team is Shea Lacey.
Yeah,
Jesus
and
Christ.
also for me, Ethan Wheatley. He just signed his first professional contract yesterday, guys, and I think you should be excited by that because he's a youngster, 16 years old, and he's doing the business like one of the most senior players in the team for the under-18s this season.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dan Gore's gone on loan, hasn't he? As well?
Dan Gore's gone on loan,
Vale.
yeah. So, Mark, there's nothing on the radar from you on the transfer more than the striker Gash that we've been linked to. Nothing coming in. Todibo, everything is for the summer. At the end of the day, we have Willy Wambala as well coming through the ranks as well. So I'm
Can't
happy
sleep
to see
on
him
that
play.
youngster, guys. I think Eric Ten Hag likes him a lot because there was some clubs coming in for him on loan, and Eric Ten Hag said to him, "Listen, I'm going to give you some game time." Like he also promised Ahmad to get a lot of important game time for the rest of the season. So look out for it.
Yeah. Me personally, I want to see the club getting ruthless in the summer. We know that Martial's going out. He's out of contract. He's apparently going to have some form of hip surgery. But at the end of the day, he can do whatever he wants. He's contracted to the club and he's going to run his contract down and get paid and do a sign-on bonus. So we're not going to get rid of him at the end of the day. We have a lot of dead wood to be cleared. Sal, you've spoken about even being ruthless, going down to Luke Shaw, 100%. Get rid of Luke Shaw, recall back Alvaro Fernandez in that position. It's a brilliant loan move for him to Benfica, 100%. It's going to get a lot of development. Let's see where Pelistri is probably going to be sacrificed and sold to Granada at the end of the day. What you guys reckon? Or
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's a shame, but I think they're going to get rid of him. I think.
Yeah,
I would.
and so I saw something very funny. Some tweets saying like, Ahmad's first minute in Sevilla lasted only 90 seconds until he got his first yellow, something like that.
Medjugorje, yeah, Hannibal. He got a yellow card, didn't he? They lost 5-1.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Listen, at the end of the day, like, if I said it before New Year, I said it, I can sacrifice the season, and I can swallow that pill if we're doing a rebuild, a proper rebuild, like, proper, get rid of all this dead wood, proper, like, nobody's safe here, like, no more jobs for boys, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm for. And that's my opinion, Lawrence. I'm always interested to hear your opinions, and this is something that we discussed, Sal. That let's see, the proof will be in the pudding, like when the summer comes. But also regarding the striker position, Loney, we'll see, because there's like 10 days left, according to my opinion, my calculations, right? 10, 11 days left to the window close.
At this moment in time, I'll be happy if we sold one or two players like a McTominay or something. If we sold one of them, I'll be happier than Benzima. Trust me.
100%.
If we sold a Maguire, McTominay, and that'll be it for me. I'll believe. Yeah. I'll start to believe then.
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, to summarize, like, these questions that we are asking each other in the VR room, kind of aim to sort of engage and cover various aspects of the club's, recent developments in terms of finance, football strategy, players, plans, upcoming transfer windows, and basically adjust them as we go right now, because right now we hear in bits and snippets. At the end of the day, we are just consumers of the game, just passionate to discuss about it. So if you do watch this video, guys, it was Stephanie Griffith, 26 likes, 34 watching. I know it's morning, but if you do watch it afterwards, you know what to do, right? Do you want me to play the video again? I don't want to play it, but smash that like. 100%. Until then, brilliant to see smiling Sal Warner back into the house. Sal, where can people find you for those who don't know you, other than you're going to come here more often?
Stretford Post, at Stretford Post, spelt normally. That's it. Yeah, Stretford Post.
Twitter, Instagram.
Oh yes, Instagram, Stretford Post as well.
It's all it.
It's or Sal RM UK for my personal page.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for coming in. Have you say Mauro Cardi is here, one of our lovely Turkish fan that supports Galatasaray, I believe. We have fans coming in.
Mauro Cardi is a good shout, though.
Should we post?
Yeah, and he was reported as one of the players of interest. I just never really mentioned him because I was just always thinking about his being a problem to dressing rooms, troublesome. But I would then again say that sometimes a player might make mistakes in some teams that he may not make in others. So you can't always judge them based on past experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, big up everyone. Time to wrap up the show. Thank you for coming in. Stay beautiful to each other. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. And if you are missing somebody in this chat that you believe having some issues, please do reach out to them, because mental health is a serious issue right now, especially with everything that's going wrong with Manchester United. And that's why we're having these forums, evening shows, post-match reactions. There's nothing planned for this tonight, but we play as we go. Maybe we will have a show, maybe not. But tomorrow we are definitely back on. It's going to be a jam-packed show tomorrow. We're going to have Nick, She-Devil Nick, together with Vicky, Bird, and some other interesting panels. So that's going to be at the same regular time, 9 p.m. UK. Tune in for that one. It's going to be a blockbuster. Stephanie Griffith, as per usual, thank you for giving the counts and moderatings. Everyone, legends in the community, you know who you are, but it's time to say goodbye. It's like that Sarah Brightman song, time to say goodbye. Anyway, I don't know how to close the show. I just enjoyed it. But anyway, big up, Sal. Enjoy the rest of your day in Abu Dhabi, and you too, Mark, in Düsseldorf, and everywhere where you are in the world. Goodbye, people. See you to the next one. Ciao.
That's all, folks.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.